Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Identity 5 Deduction Diving. Today is gonna be, it's gonna be a character who's gonna be pretty simple. The lawyer, Freddie Riley. He's arguably kinda the worst. This isn't anything bad. To lawyer mates out there, it isn't me bagging on you, it's just you have no real strengths and your weaknesses still noticeable. The item for the lawyer is a map, and with it you can see where your teammates are, you can see where the ciphers are. You could also just run around to ciphers normally like any other survivor, and knowing where your teammates are isn't exactly the most helpful, especially if you're on comms, because then you can just tell each other where you are. You also have charm, which isn't bad. It's actually a pretty good ability. Everybody takes 5% longer to die on a rocket chair, and if you're within 8 meters of him, all your actions are increased by 10%. The thing is that doesn't really help. It's the latter part. 8 meters is small. It means that he works best in co-oping, but in the early game, which is key for this game, you don't want to co-op. You want to work on separate ciphers so that the maximum number of ciphers are done at once. You have a vaulting debuff, which is always bad. And you have the veteran speed boost. 2 seconds faster. Your speed boost after getting hit lasts for 2 extra seconds. It's not bad, but with the vaulting debuff, you can't make full use out of it. It's really nothing against the lawyer himself. In a way, the explorer, my main, was also in a pretty bad spot. He had no real strengths, but then he gained the ability to dig up codes and use that to rush ciphers, which means if you get 3 ciphered, you can actually recover. I do believe if the map were to get a buff or some kind of a rework, the lawyer could prove to be a powerful contender. But that's a future possibility. Now, as for who the lawyer is, who is Freddie Riley? Well, he's a businessman. He's looked for profit his entire life. He specialized in the non-current assets and disposals, mergers, and acquisitions. He's someone who you would consult, committed to your business and your success. This is the image that Freddie Riley puts out for the public. Is that really him? No. His first node shows a very odd factor. It's about a marriage between Leo Beck and Martha Remington. There's no mention of Freddie Riley in this at all. For those of you who don't know, Leo is the Hell Ember, the starting hunter. The hunter for the match for the game that included the lawyer. Freddie was in love with Martha, and he wanted to be with her. He was invited to attend Lisa's first birthday party. Lisa being the gardener, something that would be developed a bit more inside of her deduction diving. He doesn't hate the gardener. He doesn't hate Lisa. He only hates Leo. So he cuts him out. He wants to replace Leo as the father. So what does he do? He gives a bit of business advice. He's a lawyer. He's a consultant. That's what he does. He gives advice to businessmen. So he gives faulty advice. He puts Leo into debt. Forces Leo into suicide. Well, or was it suicide? We'd have to dive into Leo's deduction tree in order to figure that out properly. And in the end, Freddy married Martha. He's finally succeeded. He's happy. Oh, it never was going to end that way. For understanding what happened to Martha, I'd say go and check out the doctor video. Long story short, Martha is no more. Freddy still believes that the purpose of law is to not permit an act, but to prevent one. What else is forbidden? Enough of all this. I realize that I'm mixing up the order of what I'm talking about in every single video. And I really should have put the law at the very end. So I apologize for those of you who came for just the deductions. I really should have remembered. But I got this headset today and I wanted to just ramble on. In any case, the lawyer has a simple item. That means his deductions are based around the starting skills that every survivor needs. You need to get 100% co-op decoding progress. You're going to need 2 ciphers for this. You would think that 100% means that, oh, you could just get it off 1 cipher. No. If you stop decoding a cipher for even 1 second, then when you finish that cipher from 0 to 100, you'll only get 99%. And that means it's nigh impossible for you to get 100% co-op decode off of 1 cipher. Now, find a teammate, follow them for 2 ciphers, and then you'll have this. Open 3 chests. Run the skill that allows you to see chests, or just remember where chests spawn. Not too difficult. I will just say this again. Open chests when there is 1 cipher left or when the exit gates are powered. Do not waste time in the middle of the match unless you're certain that your team doesn't need you to be doing anything. Successfully heal 2 teammates. Run spectator, or a much more preferable alternative, yell follow me every 10 seconds when somebody is injured. 300% decoding. It's just something you're gonna have to try for. You're gonna have to keep trying for it. You're gonna want to hope for a photographer. Oh, if you're dealing with a photographer, jump off before the photo world collapses. You'll get all the progress you had. The cipher will be reset, and then you can jump on and get even more get more than 100% off of just that 1 cipher. If you don't jump off and the photo world collapses, it will not register the progress that was lost to the deduction. Pursued by the hunter 5 times. Chase, escape, chase, escape. I would not recommend trying for pallet slams unless you can manage it. But if you can get slams, take it. If you can use the vault boosts, then take it. What you just need to do is break line of sight with the hunter for about 10 seconds, 5 seconds, I don't know. Also, if you get downed but the hunter doesn't immediately pick you up and walks away, possibly because of a prospector, cowboy, or forward threatening them, that does give you an escape. But they're saying to get pursued, so this probably doesn't count. I don't know why it says pursued. It's most likely just escape again. But these early deduction trees have some weird text used. It's They're the starting deductions. These are the characters that were released at the start of the game. Stun the hunter 3 times. Your skill versus the hunter's skill. You're gonna want to time these carefully and know which hunters you can do this against. If a Jack has his fog blade, don't try it. If it's a Violetta, remember that her hitbox is just complete bull. Why is Violetta's... I'm not going into this. I'm not going into this. Rescue 2 teammates from a rocket ship. This is reasonably manageable. Carry Tide Turner for your first rescue. And for your second rescue, you could try and organize it with borrowed time. Or just make 2 rescues normally. Just please don't farm your teammates to death. It'll only make it harder for you to get your draw. And if you don't get a draw, you don't get your deductions. Encounter 3 teammates. Hey, your map has a use! Use it, find out what your teammates are, and just run around to them. You could also encounter them by when you end up going to rescue them, when you get rescued by them, or when you're escaping out the exit gate. Just remember that if a teammate's about to die on chair, you might want to run up to them to get them reunited before they die. Complete perfect calibrations. Jump on a cipher, don't get chased off, and be able to hit those calibrations. I actually find it easier to hit perfect calibrations when it is more difficult. Probably why I don't mind being explorer and prospector. Well, I like prospector, I just don't know how to. I just can't get the magnets. Escape from the hunter 7 times. Same deal as getting pursued. Oh, one thing you can do, if the hunter is camping, run up to them, have them start a chase, run away. This is also something you can do if you ever have a containment deduction. Just be sure to actually rescue. His diary shall be expanded upon in a different video when I dive into when I begin reading the diaries for the characters. Freddie Riley is a narcissist and believes himself to be the one in right. He looks out for number 1, and number 1 is always him. That's who he is. It's hard for me to deduce personalities when they've already sort of been released in the diaries. As for what I would recommend as his deduction, as his persona build, since I have been told about this, I want to emphasize these are recommendations. You can change these around however you want. I love lightweight airwalk, but that's not for everyone. The main things I'd say is borrowed time so you don't die. If you want to rescue, then carry Tide Turner. If you feel like you can make vaults, then carry broken windows. Freddy, however, is a decoder. You want to stay away from the hunter for as long as you possibly can and just focus on decode. So I guess you could run a bit of healing with Doctor, and I would recommend Survivor's Instinct so that if your teammates do begin to die off, you can do your job a bit faster. As for your final persona, your second final persona, I will say it just depends. Are you the kind who's willing to make a rescue when need be? Then Tide. If not, broken or just gimmick. And that's the lawyer. The next video will be going in onto the thief. And the thief is, I feel, a bit better at that. I might be able to come up with something more for him, since he's actually someone you can use later on and his item has effects. I wonder if the deductions have changed a bit for him after the change to the flashlight. My final words for the lawyer. If you're not going to use the map and you're going to use the lawyer, search up a chest at some point to grab something better. And I just wish he gets a buff soon. There's the whole lawyer OP meme I get. But really he needs a rework. Not to his external traits, but to his map. That's what needs to change. His abilities aren't bad. A vaulting debuff is recoverable. It's nothing it's not a game breaker. Charm is good. You could maybe pump up its numbers in the range, but it is good. And veterans is just there. It's a useful ability, but you're not always going to see it come into play. His map is all that's needing to be changed. Otherwise, he's a worse lucky guy. That's really all there is. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.